The Honeydew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the Honeydew, y'all. We're over here doing it in the Night Pants Studios. I am Ryan Sickler, ryansickler.com, Ryan Sickler on all your social media. Look, if you guys want to help this show, then subscribe. Just hit subscribe. It's a free way to help the show. Throws us out into the algorithm. People get to see us more. And it costs you nothing. All right. It means everything to us over here. And if you got to have more, then you got to check out the Patreon. Go back, watch the Josh Wolf episode we just did where we highlight some of our favorite episodes. This shit is insane. It's all your stories. It's your show. It's called The Honeydew with Y'all. It's $5 a month. All right. If you sign up for a year, you get like over a month for free. You get the Honeydew a day early. You get it ad free at no additional cost. And I'm telling you right now, if you know someone or if you have a story that has to be heard, please submit it to honeydewpodcast@gmail.com. Hopefully we'll get to do an episode together. All right. And if you're looking for a new podcast to just listen to, go binge The Crab Feast. It's a great library. It's free. It's out there. You got all kinds of crazy stories on there. Today's guest had a wild story on there, if I remember correctly. All right.
That is true.
Now, you guys know what we do over here. We highlight the lowlights. I always say these are the stories behind the storytellers. And I'm very excited to have this guest back on the Honeydew. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Kelsey Cook. Welcome back to the Honeydew.
Thank you.
Definitely check out Kelsey's Crab Feast episode. That's the original story.
I still get people leaving comments on Instagram like "fuck the Crab Feast" and manicure tool and all of that shit.
Yeah, people. And it's on This Is Not Happening. You did it. Yeah, It's fucking great.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, welcome back. And before we get into anything today, please promote everything Kelsey Cook.
Yeah, so you can listen to the Self-Helpless podcast on all podcast platforms. I'm on tour right now. You can go to kelseycook.com, get tour date tickets at Kelsey Cook Comedy on all socials. And then my special is coming out. It will be available everywhere on YouTube March 9th, but it's going to be coming out a little early as well for purchase on February 28th on my website. So kelseycook.com, you'll get like a signed poster, free audio album download as well.
Love it.
Doing a little bundle if you want to do it that way, but it will be free everywhere on March 9th.
But
on YouTube.
Prior to that, you can get it a week early, straight through, what's your website?
kelseycook.com.
Boom. I fucking love that. Good for you. Very smart.
Thank you. Yeah, YouTube seems to be a good way to do it now.
I mean, it depends. It depends. You know, when you have a show like I have, when you talk about, women have come on, talked about rape. Well, when you put the word rape into anything, they fucking demonetize. They take it away. And so our argument is, how do we educate people about this if we can't talk about this?
Right.
We've had incest. We've had rape. We've had domestic violence. We've had, you name it.
Right.
Trauma. We've had all of it. And YouTube's like, nah, we're not. We're going to demonetize your episode. We're still going to run ads in it, but you can't fucking get it. Yeah. So it's a little challenging, but
I'm sorry, I didn't even think about that.
But I wonder about our specials. Like, are they going to demonetize those because of content and language? Some, that bullshit.
Yeah, shit.
But go watch her special.
Yeah, there's definitely some cum jokes on there. So
I hope
you
not make
for
all
kids,
the money.
but please let there be ads on there. But we'll see.
All right, let's get into what you want to talk about today, because you came with something that is sort of new. Is it not? Is it recent?
Well, it's ongoing, but it started a couple years ago. It's been a recent thing that I've decided to talk more publicly about it, because I really kind of kept it to myself, except for close family and friends the last couple years. But my mom got diagnosed with dementia 2 years ago. And
can I just ask you this?
Yeah, of course.
What happens when you're like, what do they first see where they say, no, you do have it? Is it a scan of the brain where they can tell like gray area or something like that?
Yeah, plaques, atrophy, stuff like that. So they had done an MRI, but basically how it had started. So 2020 was such a hard year for everybody. And I think if there were things that were underlying with people, they got exacerbated. And so I was living in LA at the time, and I had noticed some kind of behavioral changes with my mom, little things, but nothing that caused too much concern. Nothing that I was like, I think she should go to the doctor. It's just kind of like, that's a little different. And then at the end of 2020, I decided to move back to Spokane, which is where I'm from originally, because things were so shut down here.
That's where your mom is?
Yeah. And I had gotten an apartment there. I was living there for 3 weeks and then went over to my mom's and found her face down on her living room floor.
Oh, no.
Or was it her bedroom floor? And
you just went to visit and that's how you found her? Holy shit. Are you terrified when you walk in that my mom's dead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like fully, like face
And you
planted.
don't know how long. You don't know anything. Oh, my
Right.
God. Your mind's got to be going a mile a minute.
Right. I had talked to her the night before on the phone, and I could tell that she was like not doing great. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll come over in the morning. And she overnight had basically become septic. She was like her white blood cell count was through the roof. And so I called 911. An ambulance came. We went to the hospital, and she had a perforated stomach ulcer.
Oh, my God.
Her gallbladder was inflamed and full of stones, and she had COVID. So
What was it that ripped her stomach open?
So she had been taking a lot of Tylenol, Advil, NSAIDs to help with sciatica pain, and that can cause ulcers if it's going on for too long. So that happened, and so they wanted to do emergency surgery to repair everything. But what we didn't know is that she had this underlying dementia, and when you have anesthesia done, it can accelerate dementia.
Oh, is that right?
So she came out of surgery a completely different person.
What, like noticeably?
Like
you could tell?
Completely, she like thought she had time traveled. She was
Oh, man.
like she was not there. She was not on this planet. And
I got to say this.
yeah.
As a person who just went under anesthesia 3 times,
Yeah.
I think I time traveled a little bit.
I was gonna say.
I think I time traveled a little bit.
I mean, yeah. Well, and in fact, like,
I'm scared to say some shit
No, please.
on these shows because I'm
you
like,
have
do I?
to. You have to say this.
Man.
You know, we have to. Like, that's the thing is, that's why I'm wanting to talk about it a little more, is because like I was isolating myself, and that had become, I think, unhealthy for my mental health to be going through this in a vacuum and not opening myself up to, like, there are a lot of other people who experience this, but I'm not ever letting myself connect with people in that way because I've just kept it pretty private.
I completely understand that as well.
Yeah. So she came out of surgery, and also this was early 2021, so everybody, especially in like the COVID ward of the hospital, is in like full astronaut hazmat suits. So if you come out of surgery and dementia that you didn't know you have has now gone way up, and you're seeing like, no wonder
it's like
she
that
thought
Back
she
to the
was
Future
in. Yeah, no wonder she thought she had
like,
time traveled. She's like, what the fuck is this? This is crazy. So she was so out of it, and like there's I don't know.
Can I ask you this? It's COVID. How old was your mom at the time? 2 years
so
ago.
So she just turned 70, so she would have been like just short of her 68th birthday.
Okay.
She was like 67, I think.
Are you allowed to even visit with COVID and everything? Do you have to wear the suit too, or like how's that work?
So that's the thing is we couldn't visit my mom for the first 6 weeks.
Damn.
My mom was in the hospital for 5 months.
And see, I complain about a month, and then I hear things like this, and I'm like, shut the fuck up.
But a month is insane. That's so long.
Yeah, but 5 months is 5 times that. I don't know how that wouldn't make someone crazy, to be honest with you. I don't know how that wouldn't accelerate. I could see myself if 4 more months, like if I was still in there right now, we're not even halfway through February, I would fucking be like, get me the fuck out of here. I'd be losing my shit.
Yeah, of course. Especially when you're just like staring at the ceiling.
And you're drugged a lot of the time too for the pain and everything as well.
Yeah.
And your mom's in there for how long? Again?
5 months.
months.
Yeah.
And then you can finally get to see her?
Yeah. So here's
I have a million questions. I'm sorry.
Tell
me about what you're going through during the 5 months where you can't see it. Can she FaceTime, or is there any way to communicate with her at all?
So the first 6 weeks, they only let me see her one time. They made this, it was like a hospital exception that they were going to let me see her for a day.
I just see you at the window like, what's up, Mom?
Mom!
We got you on the ground floor on purpose so I can do this. Hang tough in there, Mom.
I forget how amazing the show is for making you be able to laugh at some of these, because it's like, I was just telling my friend before I came on here, I'm like, anytime that because this is my third time on HoneyDew, anytime you get that thought in your brain of like, oh, this would be good for the HoneyDew, you know that like life is fucking bad right then. Like this show is such a barometer.
It's a shit show.
Yeah, this show is such a barometer of
show.
like how your life is going, because if anytime I'm like, like this would probably be something to talk about on HoneyDew, I'm like, fuck, this is a tough time.
I'm glad you're tough enough to do it though, and want to, because I certainly have been through my shit recently, and I'm going to do an episode about it. And and there's so many people too are taking shots at you while you're down, and it makes me laugh. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm like, thanks for that kick in the ribs, you motherfucker. When I get up, I got one for you.
Fucking coming. Got this PT.
Yep.
This leg's going to be bionic.
Yeah, you wait,
it's going through your fucking chest. Yeah. So they let me see her for one day in those 6 weeks to see if she would recognize me. It was like an experiment, because they thought, well, if she recognizes her and it's helpful, then maybe we'll make a hospital exception that she can keep seeing her. And I went, and of course, my mom she was so out of it at the time that like, I mean, she kind of knew it was me, but it was a little in and out, and they took that as an unsuccessful visit. And I was furious because I was like, this is so unfair. Like this isn't a good enough way to measure this, I think. Like she's on such another planet right now. You giving me a couple hours with her is not, I think, a good test of this. But anyway, so they didn't let me come back for, I think it was another couple weeks. And then my mom went catatonic. And they were like, she went catatonic, I think, around the same time that their hospital policy had changed to like one visitor a day.
Okay, I have to ask you this too. The only way I even know what catatonic is, do you know? It's from the movie Weird Science.
Oh.
Do you remember the Weird Science? I know I'm older than you. So
I don't think I know of it, but I haven't seen it.
And it's Robert Downey Jr. And they make this girl who's Kelly LeBrock, like this beautiful whatever.
Yeah.
That's their girl. And then the older brother is Bill Paxton. And somehow I forget how it happens, but the grandparents get frozen and they're in a closet. And Bill Paxton's yelling at them with the laundry list, all this shit. And he goes, and our grandparents are catatonic in the closet. And that's the only reason I even know the word. So what actually is it? Because the grandparents are just frozen in a state of like, they're alive, but they're just frozen. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it to me doesn't
like, is it paralyzation?
It doesn't appear that different from a coma.
Okay.
Where like
are eyes open?
No.
Okay.
I think they can be. I think there's probably different states of being catatonic, but my mom went into a state where she just completely shut down. Her body was just done in that moment. And so when that happened, the prognosis was maybe you're looking at like a few weeks, because if she's not really able to eat or drink or anything like that, like we can keep her on IV fluids, but then it becomes a quality of life thing. Like, how long do you want her to be like this? So in the last 2 years, we've thought that we were going to lose her 5 different times, which I know with what you just went through, it's crazy how frequent those scares can be when things start to go wrong. So she has gone catatonic, I think 3 times now, 3 or 4 times. And so she ended up pulling out of that kind of miraculously, but would like dip in and out of it. And anyway, I ended up being in the hospital with her every day for almost 4 months. Like that's like the gift of doing comedy for a living, is that I just was like, well, I'm just not gonna.
Yeah, that's me right now. I'm like, I can't anyway. Like
right.
I thought about it. I don't think I could stand for 5 minutes right now and even do a set.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I get it. You're like, look, I can take this time off, and what's really important is this. But this is now COVID's finally passed, so they're letting you come in and see her.
They were letting me come in. COVID was still going on, but they had loosened it a little bit. We were so lucky that, people were losing family members having to say goodbye over iPads on FaceTime. Like that was the only way we could communicate with her during those first 6 weeks.
Okay,
was
so
like
they did let you do that.
Mm-hmm. And
did she recognize you when she talked to you then?
I'm trying to. I think yes, but it's been a couple years. She was just so gone. It's hard to explain, but she was like not really making any sense. And yeah, then I ended up being there with her in the hospital. Like it was like 8 to 10 hours a day every day. I just let that kind of become my life because we thought she only had so much time left. They did an MRI while she was catatonic, and the way her brain looked, they were like, maybe you're truly looking at like weeks, maybe.
Weeks, they
like,
told you.
They were like top maybe like a few months because her brain just had shrunk so much. And then, so that's when they diagnosed her with, it's called frontotemporal dementia. So it's different from Alzheimer's. This affects more the front and the side parts of your brain. And it impacts language, emotion, lots of personality changes, and it hits people a lot younger. So Alzheimer's you see more with people older often. So my mom had this much younger, like in her 60s, and it's much more progressive. So it develops more quickly. And just like so many times that the healthcare system has failed her in the last 2 years. Things you were telling.
For 1 month, I can tell you how the healthcare system. Yeah. I can't imagine years. Yes.
It's been so disheartening to see, like she, right before she was supposed to get discharged from the hospital, I think it was like a day or two before, she fell and broke her hip.
Damn.
In the hospital because they weren't monitoring her. And like she should not have been.
So then you're right back in the fucking hospital. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then was bedridden. Then her hip the surgery didn't set right, and nobody had ever come to check. And so then it was just like it was not fixable because they would have to do another surgery. And they're like, we don't think she would make it through another surgery. We don't think her brain would be able to go through another.
So now her hip's just fucked.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lawsuit, doesn't it?
There have been so many lawsuit moments, but I've also had a lot of people in my life that are like, you can't win against hospitals. Like, don't even bother. And that's very
they'll probably bleed you dry.
And that's it's like
it'll be caught up in courts for years, and there goes all your fucking money.
Yeah. So
and it doesn't help your mom or bring your mom back.
That was the thing. It was like I only have so much
that could be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Only so much time.
Everyone talks about lawsuit, but also falling and breaking your hip and being like, we're just gonna leave it fucked up.
Dude, it's
a little bit like
there have been so many conversations I've had with people where I'm like, I have to be high right now. There's no way that this is like, there's no way this is really happening. And so she's just gotten the short end of the stick so many times with the healthcare system in the last couple of years. And after the 5 months in the hospital, she got discharged into an adult family home that was about 15 minutes from where I lived in Spokane. And so I would just go be with her a couple times a week, but she needed like full around the clock care because now she's basically bedridden or she can be put into a wheelchair. But yeah, it's been easily the most heartbreaking thing I've ever gone through these past couple years.
Sorry.
Thank you. It's just been so, it's so tough. Nobody prepares you for that happening with your parent.
Okay, I have a lot of questions for you.
Yeah.
Is this hereditary? And if so, are you fucking terrified?
Yeah. So I'm going to do some testing soon. Frontotemporal dementia is a specific thing where like, if my mom has the certain gene, then it's a really, really high chance that I would have it too. But I'm still trying to learn a lot about it because it sounds like people are finding more and more out about how it can develop, that like taking certain antihistamines every day, inhalers, like albuterol inhalers, which my mom was just always using that all the time. I think they're saying that can lead to that too. So
That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to ask, could this be from a car accident years ago? Or,
right.
I didn't know. So really, inhalers can possibly be a cause of this?
That's like recent information. Yeah.
Did you ever use the inhalers?
Like a few times young, but not. I didn't really have intense asthma. I had some exercise-induced asthma when I was young, but my mom has always had bad asthma her whole life. So she was using inhalers all the time, and like 24-hour antihistamines and stuff like that. So they also don't know very much about this particular disease. It's less common than Alzheimer's, I believe. So
I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but do you know the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's? Because I don't know the difference.
I know that they are both under that umbrella term of dementia. All I understand so far is that Alzheimer's hits people much later. It's like a different
part of the brain,
affecting
too?
a different part of the brain.
Okay.
Yeah, people show up. I think they show their signs of it differently as well. And that's what's so heartbreaking about frontotemporal, is because its personality changes. And so it can be it's very subtle over time. So family members don't really know that that's even a possibility. You just think like, oh, this person's kind of stressed out, or they're just kind of like
Mom's
behaving.
all the time,
they're just like behaving weirdly or getting really emotional. And this also all happened in 2020 when everybody was acting weird and feeling off and all that stuff. So, and there was so much isolation. And I think that can really bring out the worst of people. And I mean, and she wasn't doing anything bad. It was just like, I could just tell that something was different with her. But yeah.
And so where is she now? In that home still?
She's in that home. Mm-hmm.
All right. And homes always worry me too. So are they a good facility? Like, are they taking care of her? Do you know what they're giving her and all that? Like, are you her like ride or die for everything in there?
Which is unfortunate, because people tell you a lot in this process, like, just focus on being the daughter. Like, just focus on being the daughter, let them do their job. But it's like, I have watched people fuck up and her be the person that is impacted by their fuck ups so often that I don't trust anybody anymore in that world. Like, I'm always double checking what's going on with her and making sure that everything's right, because she's had some absolute angels of healthcare workers that are like the greatest people on the planet. And then there have been people who you're like, how did anybody let you in here?
Listen, again, not to make this about me
no,
in any
and
way.
this is like, it's weird that
but
I
appreciate that, because I would say, like, let's just say I dealt with 100 different people from nurse, whatever.
Yeah.
96 of them were fan-fucking-tastic, amazing, beautiful souls, kind, but there were 4 fucking assholes. Okay. That number, by the way, that's a phenomenal number, Cedars-Sinai. 96 out of 100. Hey, A++. Okay. In our healthcare system.
Yeah.
But those 4 motherfuckers, if you don't stick up for yourself, if you are not an advocate for yourself in our healthcare system, then they're just going to fucking roll right over you. Or if you don't have someone who can be an advocate for you, because when you're just fucking catatonic, for God's sake, and you have dementia, you can't even remember what the fuck they're telling you. No. You don't even know anything. You might forget what the hell you're even in there for.
Exactly.
So if someone isn't there fighting for you, fuck that daughter shit. I mean, that's great. I would be both. I would make A for advocate and D for daughter. And I would just say fuck B and C. That's what I would do, okay? Forget the because. That's why, motherfucker. Because somebody needs to.
Because I am her fucking daughter and you guys aren't doing your job. Yeah. It's so true though. It's
Have you had any arguments like?
Oh yeah.
Because you just strike me as such a kind person, but to have to fucking, that's the other thing too. It's like to have to go there with somebody. You don't want to go there. Yeah. Like I didn't go there on the first swing. When the lady missed my blood 3 times, then I was like, hey, go get somebody who knows how to do their job, please.
Focus.
You know what I mean? I didn't fucking snap the first time. Not even the second time. It was the third time. And then when she said, I did miss, and she took the fucking thing off, blood squirted on the wall. And I was like, well, there's the blood we needed right there. How about you go get somebody who knows how to do their job? Am I a dick? I don't think so. You know why? Because that blood on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there are a few of those for sure. And I always say on this show too, the person, you know what they call the person who finishes last in med school? Doctor. You don't have to be good.
Yes.
You're like, how'd you get in here? How did you fucking get in here?
How did you do it?
What did you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a good way to put it too, that being kind and not being a confrontational person. I mean, it is so hard for me to speak up for myself,
tell
speak
me
up for,
about it.
like I am just not that person. Especially in a medical environment, because I'm a fucking clown for a living. I don't know any of these things. And so I would see things happening to my mom in the hospital and I would be like, I don't love that. Like, that doesn't seem like the way that should be done. But you're so hesitant to say anything. And also it's that icky feeling of like, you don't want to rub anybody here the wrong way, because when you're not here at night, you don't know what they're doing.
Dropping elbows on mom or some shit.
You don't know.
For real.
Like, there are all those horror stories, but it's true. And so I was always trying, and still am, trying to walk that line between making sure she's being taken care of, being on good terms with the people taking care of her, but like, if something goes wrong, making sure they know, like, I know what's happening. And so we watched a nurse just not give my mom her main medication for a week.
A week? When do you speak up to that?
We didn't know what was going on until I was like, God, she's acting so different, just out of nowhere. And we know that there are these declines in the dementia and it will keep going down, but it felt like something had triggered a decline. And we were like, God, she's acting so much more out of it and different than usual. And so I called the like overseeing nurse, who isn't always at the home. And I had said, can you just check? Because I don't know, I just feel like something's off. And one of the nurses just had, like, there had been an issue with getting their prescription refilled and they just hadn't continued to follow up. So my mom just didn't say anything. They just didn't give her her main medication for a week, which completely made her go off the rails. And then it made her decline. It's like, there are only so many steps that you can go down before you are done. And so I was livid.
So what happened? Who did you yell at that lady?
I yelled at the woman who runs the home.
How'd that feel when you were done?
I mean, it feels good to stand up for what's right, but you also are like, I just wish this hadn't happened. Because again, it's all, my mom is the one who suffers.
What was your reaction to them when your mom broke her hip and shit? Like, did you go nuts then? I would have just been beyond myself.
Yeah.
Like, how do you even do that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's hard because a lot of the excuses that were being used during those 5 months in the hospital were like, well, it's COVID time, like, we're short staffed. There's just so much. This is just such a hard time. And it's like, that is true. That is a thing that I understand is going on that is hard. However, it's like, there are still things that shouldn't be happening. Mm-hmm. And that's why I felt like, well, I love my mom so much, and there was just no way she was going to be in there without me wanting to be there.
Are you the only child?
I have a younger brother who's about 6 years younger than me, but he lives out of state. His wife was pregnant at the time, like, just a really hard time for him to be able to come much. But yeah, it just, I lost my train of thought, but.
You love your mom so much.
Yeah. And because of COVID, that I could see that the nurses were too loaded up. They had so many patients each that if they would try to feed my mom and my mom wouldn't really like take to it, they're not going to sit there for an hour and try to get her to eat. They're just going to be like, all right, well, she didn't eat. And then they're going to go to the next room. But if I'm there, I'm going to make sure she eats. So it's like, it sucked to feel that pressure, but I just knew that, like, because of the situation it was in, people can slip through the cracks in the hospital so easily.
Yes.
Especially if they can't advocate for themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I had nurses coming from, one will be from Monrovia, and I'm like, damn, you drove all the way in from, then it'd be Pomona, and then it'd be somewhere else. I'm like, damn. And they're never the same. They're rotating either floors in the same building or different hospitals in the same network. They're never, I mean, if I had the same nurse maybe 2 days or 2 nights in a row, that was like the closest you got to knowing some regular person.
Right.
Who knew your shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the other great thing is every time a new person comes in, you got to tell them your shit again. Well, I'm originally here for a back surgery and then this shit, like all the way. And you get so tired of telling it, but it's a new person almost every fucking time.
Yes, exactly. And that makes it so hard too to
and
maintain.
The food sucks.
Oh my God.
I'm having conversations with them like, this is what you gave. This is high fructose corn syrup. Like we're talking about all these health issues.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it starts with our diet.
Yeah.
And look what you guys give us. And the nurse is like, you're not wrong. She goes, the same thing in schools. I go, you're right. Giving kids and us all this shit all the time. Then we come to places like this and then you give us shit.
And it's just a cycle.
Yeah.
Where, I know, because that's the cheap stuff. So it's just easier to
like, do you want cheese? I swear to God, I got a craft. Now listen, I'm not above a craft single. All right. But I want to get it. Don't give me that in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Unpeel it and put it on the fucking turkey burger and don't tell me, but don't give it. They gave it to me like somebody was like, wait. He wanted cheese and frisbeed that shit on my tray.
Like, let me self-harm with the craft.
No. Let me buy that
Let
shit.
me go down this rabbit hole.
They gave me a craft, and I'll bet you wasn't even a craft. It was probably a Kroger.
It was probably a Kirkland signature. Yeah, it was. Kroger's a better version of it.
Definitely. Because they probably had a sleeve of them like this of Kirkland.
I love how you could launch it from across the room.
Man,
the way that those things stick to anything.
It probably hit the floor and skid across. Like, it's wrapped. Don't worry. Threw it on my tray. That's definitely what happened. You're a speck of dust in these systems. You're a speck of dust. You might as well be a star in the fucking solar system.
Absolutely. And it's disgusting. It's just a filthy place. Yeah. It's really, really rough.
All over the country, things are getting more expensive, including rent. Make this the year you stop renting and buy your first home. I highly recommend checking out the How to Buy a Home podcast now. Host David Sidoni has years of experience helping first-time home buyers close on houses they thought were impossible, even as the housing market went bonkers. His How to Buy a Home podcast is a free resource that breaks down what you need to know to make buying a home a reality, including, do you really need to put 20% down? No, most people only put 3.5%. Will a mortgage be more than your current monthly rent? Probably not. Do you need an 800 credit score? No. People are buying homes with credit scores in the 600s, and David will tell you how. David can guide you through next steps that are right for you. He can even connect you with a great realtor in your town that works with first-time home buyers and actually cares about you. And I'm going to say this. I've had several people, at least 3 or 4 couples that have come up to me at shows telling me that they bought their first home because exactly this ad right here. So start listening to How to Buy a Home podcast today at howtobuyahome.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you have questions, you can ask David directly at howtobuyahome.com. Visit howtobuyahome.com and make this the last year you rent. Need an afternoon reset? Do yourself a favor and snag 5 minutes for a Dadgrass toke break. They've got mom grass joints as the perfect pick-me-up to spark your creative flow, or the original Dadgrass joints to quiet your mind after your 9 to 5. Dadgrass is legal, organic, smokable hemp that relaxes your body and mellows your mind. Their 100% organic pre-rolled joints and flower are very low in THC and high in CBD, so you can enjoy the effects of CBD while keeping a clear head. Not looking to toke? Then Dadgrass also offers the finest tinctures and gummies on the market. All the mellow goodness, no smoke required. All Dadgrass products are federally legal for ages 18 and over, and it ships right to your door anywhere in the U.S. Whether you're looking for a new buzz or a chill way to enjoy an old favorite, Dadgrass will leave you in a euphoric mood. And right now, Dadgrass is offering my listeners 20% off your first order when you go to dadgrass.com/honeydew. Go to dadgrass.com/honeydew for 20% off your first order. That's dadgrass.com/honeydew. There's no quick fix for anxiety and depression. It's not finding a new therapist or starting an exercise routine. And it's not more and regular meditation or a better diet. I've said it before. Everybody knows what's best for you. Sometimes you need something to unlock your brain, a new way of thinking about and seeing the world. Maybe that thing is guided ketamine therapy from Mindbloom. There's a new tool to improve your mental health. It's at-home ketamine therapy. Mindbloom is the leader in at-home ketamine therapy, having safely helped thousands of people overcome their their anxiety and depression. Unlike traditional talk therapy, ketamine works quickly and doesn't have the unpleasant side effects of traditional antidepressants. In a study of over 1,200 Mindbloom clients, 89% reported improvements in their anxiety and depression after only 2 sessions. All right, I did this for 6 weeks, and I'm telling you, I can't tell you actually. I'm telling you, I can't tell you, but I'm going to tell you. It helped me so much. It really did. With my anxiety. I took it for anxiety. It absolutely helped me. After everything I've been going through health-wise, it really did allow me to think in a different, better way. So right now, Mindbloom is offering my listeners $100 off your first 6-session program when you sign up at mindbloom.com/honeydew and use promo code honeydew. Take the first step and break free from your anxiety and depression with Mindbloom. Mindbloom.com/honeydew and use promo code honeydew. Now, let's get back to the do.
So her 5 months in the hospital completely changed me as a person. I mean, I just saw so many things that I had never seen before, never known that that's how the healthcare system worked. I was so disappointed by so many things. But again, like you said, there are healthcare workers out there that are incredible. It just takes a few.
Thank you, healthcare workers, for real. All the good ones.
Seriously.
Nurses, RNs, charge nurses, all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there are some that go so far above and beyond, and those ones you're like, I mean, it blows your mind because you can't believe that they could also be working alongside the people who just don't give a shit.
Yeah, I had great surgeons that didn't big time me and didn't make me feel stupid. And I would even tell them, listen, I make people laugh for a living. I'm a clown, like you said. It's okay to talk to me like I'm stupid.
Yeah.
But tell me what the fuck's going on, really, you know? And then some of them would sit there for 30 minutes and answer every question I had.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, thank you very much. And I've tried not to go to the internet with all this shit because I'll just freak myself out. And I've tried to act like it's the 80s and I'm just listening to the doctors. I haven't Googled one thing about what's happened to me right now because I'm terrified.
Good for you.
To read it. I'm terrified. I'm going to have to, but I'm fucking terrified to do it. I'm just listening to these doctors and going to my appointments and doing what they say to do.
Yeah. No, I think that's the way to do it because the internet is definitely can be that black hole feeling where you just keep going and keep going and keep going. And
yeah, my regular doctor's like, stop Googling shit, Ryan. You're gonna have AIDS. You're gonna think you have AIDS if
that's
you keep doing it.
End of it always is.
Always like, I think I have AIDS.
It's like 6 degrees of
everything.
AIDS.
Of
yeah,
AIDS,
everything leads back to AIDS. But yeah, so she has kind of gone up and down. And
is she still there in that
she's
facility?
Still there right now. There was so in June I flew to London to shoot a TV show. Was so excited. I landed in London and had been there for less than 24 hours when I got a call saying your mom had a sudden decline. Like, we don't know if this is it, but like you might want to come back.
Whoa.
So I got back on a plane, didn't shoot the TV show, just like told my agents, I was like, I could not live with myself if I just stayed here for a week, if this is the time that this is happening. And so flew back.
You were going to be there for a full week?
Yeah. Flew back to Spokane. She was basically catatonic again and then pulled out. It's so crazy to watch somebody be truly on like the brink of death and then something in their brain kind of wakes them back up again.
So tell me about that. Were you there for that? Like one night she's catatonic, you come in the next day and she's talking it? Or how much is she's actually speaking and does she remember you? And
so those times where she's come out of being catatonic, it's a little gradual where she's not, maybe sometimes she's not able to say like full sentences. Maybe it's just she'll like do a little laugh here and there, but her eyes will be open, which is such a massive difference from somebody who's just completely unresponsive and not taking in food or water. So she's gone on hospice like 3 different times and pulled out of hospice 3 different times. So
I mean, we're talking about the brink of everything.
It feels like for me, it feels like you're about to get hit by a train. And then somebody pulls they don't get rid of the train. They just pull it back further on the tracks. Because I know that train is going to hit me at some point. But it's your mom going on hospice and being like with doctors telling you, yeah, this is probably going to be it. And then she pulls through over and over again. I mean, it ages you 5,000 years.
I believe
like
that.
it's the most horrible, draining. Yeah.
I mean, you go from the lowest of the low to a high, but knowing, like you just said, that no matter what, it's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, what a mind fuck.
Yeah. It keeps you in that place. I can't believe it's been 2 years because when she went in, like I said, they were saying she's kind of a medical miracle based on her MRI because they were like, the way her brain looks, it's like, she's not going to really have much left. And she's had moments. So I pulled her foosball table out of storage and got it moved into the adult family home so that I can wheel her up in the wheelchair and we can play a little.
Does she play?
So there were times maybe like a year ago that she could still have some motor skills there and could still like do some tic-tacs and shoot. And that was so insane to watch. And I was so
Do those
excited.
people there know that your mom is a Hall of Fame foosball player?
Yeah. So
if you don't know, Kelsey's mom is a Hall of Fame foosball player.
Yeah. So
what's your mom's name? I'm sorry. What's your
Kathy.
mom? Kathy. All right.
So I've started to open up about the dementia stuff on stage during this tour. And that's one of the things I say is that my mom's in the Foosball Hall of Fame. And every time she gets a new nurse, they always ask her about her life. And my mom's always like, well, I'm in the Foosball Hall of Fame.
So your mom remembers that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the nurse goes, sure you are.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's like,
yeah, it is a weird thing to say to somebody.
And then I'll be standing there and I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I know that sounds crazy, but I swear it's real. And the nurse was like, hey, you don't have to. It's okay.
It is a weird thing to say. You would think somebody would make that.
And that sounds like you're on the street in Santa Monica saying shit to people. It doesn't sound like it would be more believable that she was in the WNBA. Because at least that's like a thing people know about. And then I'll like keep going with the nurse. I'll be like, no, like I could show you like trophies. I can show you videos of her.
Hon. I gotta get to the next floor over here.
It'll never
We're
happen.
short-staffed. I gotta hustle.
They start looking at the other nurses like, oh, does the daughter have dementia too? Like, is this like a family plan T-Mobile dementia that they're on in the home?
Oh, you're gonna kill me. Oh, God.
Sorry. But yeah, it's like nobody's ever gonna believe that in that home. But it's
they're not.
It's so unbelievable. But it's true. It's just so unbelievable.
Got that Texas tornado table in the middle of that.
I know. She's so cute playing. But I was there with her 5 days ago and wheeled her up to it. And it's been a little while since she's wanted to play. And I think some of the muscles in her arms are starting to atrophy a little bit because she was having trouble even doing it. And then she said it was hurting. And it was so fucking devastating because I was there with her for a few hours and I know she recognized me when I walked in. I bent down and hugged her in the wheelchair and she's like, I'm so proud of you. I love you so much. And we had, a nice time. Our conversations now are not really like coherent, but she'll talk to me and stuff. And then at the end of my visit with her, she just looked at me and said, and who are you again? And it was...
Oh, is that the first time?
Yeah, that's the first time. There was that moment in the hospital, like I mentioned, really early on, but she was she was in like a full panic attack all the time that I was like, this just doesn't, I don't know. It was a different thing. This absolutely knocked all the wind out of me. I was so not expecting it, especially because I'd been with her for a few hours and everything seemed to be like that she registered it was me. And I think she had started to get kind of tired toward the end of our visit. And I think things were kind of firing less in her brain. But it's so chilling to have your parent look you in the eyes and not know who you are. Like that's something that nobody can prepare you for. It disturbs you on a level. Like I've been having nightmares since because it completely fucks with, I think, some of the really foundational parts of being a human. That like that is your parent. That's the person who knows you. All of those just like from
came out of
the
this woman's
womb.
body.
Yeah, stuff of that person will always know me. They'll always be my parent, my protector, all of that. And so for her to, in that moment, not know it was me was, that was a really bad day. That was a lot of tears that day.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
How did you answer it?
I said, "I'm your daughter, Kelsey."
Did you cry when you said it? Oh, I would be bawling. I'm like, "Oh, your son."
Yeah. I started to get choked up, but I was trying to not cry hard because I didn't want to make her feel bad.
Or you're like, "I'm the person you probably gave this gene to." That's who the fuck I am, lady.
Yeah, I told her it was me, and she said, "Okay." And then a couple minutes went by, and she was like, "I'm just worried I'm abandoning her." And I said, "Who?" And she said, "Kelsey." And I said, "But I'm Kelsey, and you're not abandoning me. It's okay." Like, I was so emotional. But what my cousin and I have noticed, my cousin visits a lot too, is sometimes my mom thinks she's 30 years younger than she is. Like, if you ask her how old she is, she'll be like, "I'm 42. She just turned 70. And so that makes, in her mind, me and my brother kids. And so I think...
Oh, that's fucking... Actually, that's wild.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So I think...
So her math is, I'm 42, and my children would be children, not this grown woman that's standing here with me right now.
Right.
Wow.
So I think in that moment, it wasn't necessarily that I didn't exist to her. It's that she is thinking I'm a child, and it's... God, it is so gut-wrenching because she has always been the greatest mom on the planet, and so, like, one of those parents that's just always been all about her kids, making sure her kids are okay. And that, to me, I think is a circle of hell, that this disease has put thoughts in her mind that, like, her young kids are in a house somewhere and that she's abandoned them. That they can't take, like, that they're like, "Where's my mom?" Like, that's what she, in those moments, I think thinks is happening. So that's why me standing there, it's like, well, that can't be my daughter because my daughter's a kid. I mean, this is all... I don't know for sure, but we've just tried to kind of piece together some things like that. And it's not linear. It's not like I talked to her on the phone on the way here, and I was like, "Hi, Mom." She's like, "Hi, sweetheart." Like, she knew it was me, but the fact that it even happened, now I know that it's like probably will keep happening. And yeah, it is the longest goodbye. It's so hard. It's so fucking hard.
Do you ever talk to her about, do you remember yesterday when you didn't remember me? Do you ever talk about the moment she doesn't remember when she's actually with you and really, like, there? Say, like, yesterday you didn't even recognize me, or do you ever do that?
No. I mean, I'll ask her, like I was like, "What did you think of the Super Bowl?" to see if she could kind of remember watching that yesterday. But
did she watch it? Did
she
remember
did.
it?
The way she responded sounded like maybe she didn't fully remember. She's also, here's the thing, my mom is in Mensa. She has her master's in French literature. She speaks like 3 languages. She's one of the most brilliant people on the planet. And so I think even with dementia, there are times where she'll still try to hide that she doesn't know how to communicate properly anymore.
Does she remember the other languages she spoke?
I'll speak some French with her sometimes. Like, that's still
French?
In there. Yeah, not great, but
enough.
Yeah, she was my high school French teacher.
No, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
What grade you get?
A's. I was a nerd.
All right.
I was a nerd, but yeah, she was like everybody's favorite teacher. So that's been so cool too. Is like, whenever I do shows in Spokane in the merch line, there are always so many people that were former students of hers that just have so much love for her. Yeah, but I try not to say anything to her that would make her feel bad for having dementia, because she can't control it. It's not her fault. I know that she already is just struggling so much all the time that I think any sort of thing where I'm like, "Hey, do you remember that you didn't recognize me?" would break her heart. Yeah. And it's like, there's no
point.
Yeah.
Is she up and around, or is she just in a wheelchair right now?
She's in a wheelchair. So some days she doesn't want to leave the bed. Some days they always like try to encourage her, like, let's get you in the wheelchair. And so she can like kind of get out of the room. But yeah, it fucking sucks to know that she's like mostly just watching TV a lot of the days, but like there's not there aren't that many things that she is interested in.
Or
so I played it for her on my
did?
laptop a few months ago once it had been done getting edited, because my agent actually was really smart to suggest this. He was like, you never know. And she's had so many ups and downs. Like, if you have the finished product, I would watch it with her right now while you can, just in case. So I watched it with her, and she, I like dedicate it to her at the end, and there's some foosball stuff at the end, and she was like tearing up for that and was really proud. So
that's nice. Good.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I feel really lucky I got to do that with her.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so weird to come. I just talked about this on my podcast, Self-Helpless, for the first time, but that show, we like get into serious stuff from time to time. I'm just so used to, even on HoneyDew with you, talking about like funnier things sometimes. It's weird to come here and just kind of have like a very somber therapy session.
Well, what you're going through is not fucking fun, and you're currently going through it. This isn't a story that happened to you 15 years ago,
right?
That you've gone to therapy already about, and you've dealt with, and you've thought these different things, and over time, maybe your opinions and attitudes have changed in one way or another.
Right.
This is happening to you right now, so
it's
it's interesting to see where you'll be 10 years from now with this. Because you also have your own concerns about your own health.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I've got a genetic thing that could kill me easily. So I'm aware of like, and nobody else in my family got it. They all got tested. I'm like, God damn it. For real? I'm a twin.
Oh, God.
I'm a twin and I got it. Not my brother. But that's what happens. When you're fraternal, you're separate eggs. And if we were identical, we'd either both have it or not. We're fraternal. I'm my own zygote. Boom, I get this stupid fucking thing. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. And, my mom has been divorced since I was 5.
Okay.
So that has been a tough part of it, too, is that it did kind of all fall on me in terms of her immediate family. She didn't have a partner or anything like that. And
is your dad alive?
He is. Mm-hmm.
Do you talk to him about it?
Yeah.
That's nice.
My dad has been a huge support system for me, so
Has he visited your mom?
No, but they didn't have that kind of a relationship where they would have done that. I don't think my mom would have wanted that, to be honest. But my dad has really, really been there for me. He was so nice to have around in Spokane, especially during the hospital months, because he would like swing by the hospital, drop off food for me, because I would be there the whole day. And yeah, that was huge to have him around for sure, and still have him around. But yeah, so it's been crazy. I was talking about the London thing, and then was it 2 weeks after that? Yeah, 2 weeks after that, I shot my special in Denver, and I got there a couple days early before shooting the special, and I got a call from the Guardian when I got there that they were officially putting my mom back on hospice, because the London thing was a couple weeks before that. So she had like kind of pulled out of being catatonic, but was still not doing great. And I was just like in the comedy condo playing old voicemails from my mom, just like bawling.
Right before your special.
Right before my special, just bawling. It was 2 days before. It wasn't like I was about to walk on stage. It wasn't like I made my mom's voice messages my walk-on music for the special.
I've heard everything. Kirsten and I heard a story. I'm not going to name the comic, but one of the waitresses walked in and he was like, yeah, that's it. And she's like, excuse me? He's like, I'm not fucking talking to you. And then realizes that right before he goes up, he's on a fucking sex thing with a live sex thing, having this girl do shit. And she's like, that's your fucking...
What?
That's what you're doing before you walk up on stage and to make people laugh?
I'm so curious who that is.
I'll tell you. Okay. I'll tell you after we're out of here for sure. And you're over there sobbing tears.
I mean, again,
hey, everybody's got their thing. You know what I mean?
It wasn't the day of the special.
It wasn't right before they said Kelsey Cook. It wasn't right there. You're like going out. Like, oh God,
No, but it is. It's like the sad clown thing of you go on stage, tap. No, it's okay. Tap dance around, make people laugh, compartmentalize.
Feel good for yourself too. You feel good too.
Yes, of course. But people have no idea unless you tell them in your act what's going on. And for the last 2 years, I haven't. So I would be having moments like that where it was just like the lowest of low, just brokenhearted, sobbing, and then just, okay, go on stage. So it's been a lot.
What's your biggest concern with this for yourself moving forward? Because if you don't mind me asking, you don't have to say, how old are you now?
Oh, I'm 33.
All right, so 33, and this hit your mom late 60s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, look, here's the other thing. You got 30 years of advancement, hopefully, in medicine, technology, knowledge, education, all of that for all of us that have whatever we have.
Yeah.
Like, does it scare the fuck out of you?
Yeah. Because our job is our brain.
I know.
It's memory. It's all of that. It's being able to talk. So, yeah, it's terrifying. And I feel like there just have been so many other things to be thinking about that, ironically, that has been the last. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, if that does happen, it's a ways away. I still want to get tested to make sure I can, like, if that is the case, that I can take whatever precautions I can. But just when you do feel like the train is about to hit with your mom, you're always focusing on that and trying to, like, my tour schedule's crazy. There's so much going on all the time. Yeah. And so one thing that I did recently, which was so hard for me to do, but I moved from Spokane to Minnesota. And because also touring out of Spokane for 1.5 years.
Yeah, you're as far away as you can fucking be for those flights. You are.
Every flight felt like an international flight.
Yeah.
Every week. Because Spokane is a tiny airport. It's way in the corner of the country. No nonstop flights. Maybe a couple flight time options each day. Crazy time zone changes. It was like I came home every week just a shell of a person. Like, it was getting to be so hard on my body for 1.5 years. So my boyfriend lived in Minnesota. We wanted to live together. It didn't make sense for him to come to Spokane because then he's, touring too. We would both be dealing with the Spokane airport every week. But it was so hard for me to make that decision to move away from my mom when I had been within 15 minutes of her for the last couple years. But I also knew that I feel like being that close to her was kind of killing me because I've just cried so much the last couple years. And I was looking online. I know that we're not supposed to Google, but I did Google because I was like, this feels.
I'm going to Google. I just not yet. Not yet. I'm not ready.
I found something called prolonged grief syndrome or something like that. And I related to it a lot. It's in situations like this where it's a very long goodbye. It's not you don't get to complete the grief cycle in a normal, healthy period of time. It's not like you lose somebody and you go, it's like this.
It could be a year's thing.
Yeah, slowly slipping away of the person. And it kind of holds you in this mental state that you shouldn't be in. So I've just, like, everything feels so high. Like, every conversation with my mom, it feels so dear to me. But that's like a lot of pressure to be living like that for 2 years, where you want every interaction to be amazing and perfect and meaningful. And I think I needed some distance from it, and just a healthy way so that I could also be able to function. And that was so hard for me because I felt like, God, is that fucked up to move away? But
there's also something to be said for living your life and not someone else's death.
Oof.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. God, that's a powerful quote.
They're really,
wow.
I just made that up.
Look at you.
But
damn,
I do believe
that's really
that.
good,
Like, because I understand what you're saying. You're in a tunnel, you're in a vacuum, a dark fucking vacuum of anxiety and fear and unknown of everything. You're hospice, you're out. Catatonic, you're out. Yeah. What's going to happen with me? That sort of thing. There's a lot. And you're right. I mean, our brain is our job. Here's the thing. Like, my business manager was like, we should talk about, what's it called? Disability insurance. And I was like, you know how fucking insurance companies are. They're going to say he's a comedian. He could roll on stage and tell jokes, which I could. Or I could roll up to this table. He goes, yeah, you could. But then the guys in the hospital are like, well, they're also, you could stroke. And I was like, hadn't even considered stroke. Like they keep saying shit to me and I'm like, huh?
Yeah,
what?
Yeah. Fuck.
So then I'm like, well, then that is my job. I can't fucking perform if I have a stroke, you know?
Right.
And do you recover fully from that? You know, all these things you start thinking about, especially as we get older with our fucking DNA.
Yes.
That we don't get to pick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't get to pick anything. You just get assigned to this fucking rock in outer space. It's like, this is the shit you got. You're like, thanks.
Here's your card.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to find out about this till my 30s? Okay, cool. All right. Okay. Yeah. And I get to worry about that for the rest of my fucking life.
Oh,
yeah.
Dope. Yeah. It's a lot. And one of my friends who lost her mom to cancer a few years back, so she lost her, also at a young age. She was like, your mom loves you so much and you and your brother are her pride and joy. If you run yourself completely into the ground to try to help her constantly, you're doing her a disservice. Like she made you so that you could go
live your best life. I believe, as a father, I'm telling you right now, it would bum me out to have my daughter there every day. It would.
Wow.
Every day. I'm like, go. You're wasting your life.
God,
you're wasting it.
You have no idea how much that means to me to hear that from a parent's perspective.
I'm telling you. My daughter's only 8 and I'm getting chills now, but I would be like, go fucking hang out with your friends tonight. Don't be in here. This is a dark fucking the place. Once in a while, great, because I want to see you or even FaceTime.
Right.
Okay, so let me ask you, moving to Minnesota, how has it helped you? Or has it?
It's pretty remarkable how even in the, what's it been now, 5-6 weeks since I've moved, I cry so much less because I'm just not accessing that part of my brain as much. I still talk to her on the phone all the time, but I think it's been so healthy for me, just in every way. Every part of my life feels healthier. Of course, the travel has been so much easier, and I think that just helps everything. But emotionally, it feels like that's what needed to happen, is I needed a little bit of separation, because it was as if there was still like an umbilical cord with me and my mom. I felt like everything she was feeling, I was feeling. And that's a heavy thing.
Well, she's lucky to have you, for real.
Thanks. I'm so lucky to have her.
Well, we're lucky to have you. This has been, I know we got to get you out of here. This has been.
Has it been an hour?
Yeah. Look behind you. We're right there.
Oh my God. That felt like it was 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I can't believe we were able to talk about that whole time.
Well, thank you for doing it. I know it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And also, listen, everybody, here's the thing. I want to say this to everybody. I know some of us don't talk to our family. We're estranged, whatever. Figure out what the fuck their goddamn medical history is if you don't talk to them, because their DNA is your fucking DNA. You can't run from that goddamn DNA.
Yeah.
So you also go get your test done, because maybe you don't. Maybe you don't fucking have it.
Maybe I don't. Yeah.
You know
there's a chance I don't.
Yeah. Maybe you got your dad's genes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I would just say, if you're seeing things in your parent that seem unusual to you, don't hesitate to take them in. Like, I don't think anything would have changed if I had. I mean, she had the disease. It was going to happen anyway. But I just, I think sometimes we think, oh, our parents know best.
Right. They're the adult.
They're the adult. No matter how old we get, we always think of ourselves as like, we're the child, they're the parent. If they say they're okay, they're okay. But if you're seeing stuff that really does make you go, it wouldn't hurt for them to like get checked out, go help them get checked out if you can, because you just never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of you are probably going through this out there. So good luck to you and everybody.
Thank you. That's part of opening up, is just to like, I would like more community about it, because I've kept it to myself and you do feel so isolated. So I'm about to start going to like support groups. There's support groups in Minnesota of family members of people with frontotemporal dementia. So yeah, I think it'll help.
thank you again. I know this was not easy. Please promote everything.
Yeah. So Self-Helpless podcast, everywhere you listen to podcasts. My special comes out on March 9th on YouTube. It will be available to purchase on my website on February 28th. So that's kelseycook.com. And my website is also where you can get all of my tour tickets. I'll be in Cincinnati, Kearney, Minneapolis coming up, San Francisco, so many tour dates. So yeah, go check it out.
Awesome. Thank you again. And as always, RyanSickler.com, Ryan Sickler on all social media. We'll talk to y'all next week.